The massacre was only the beginning. Who did this to us? Who attacked the tribe?
What have you done? He's taken her! He's taken my wife! You've risked the safety of Troy. She must go back to her home.
You will condemn me to my death. Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you.
Call Troy your home then.
Brother, I can fight!
Go. Seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
てこられなさそうだな。もらったぜ。ヒャッホー、見たか俺のゴール。
Player reactivity, that's the hallmark of a great role-playing game. And the more the world reacts to what you're doing, the more immersive it becomes, the more again, it feels like you're being watched for everything you do. So we've tried really, really hard to make sure we're telegraphing the choices you make and that people are reacting to that. Oftentimes they're kind of subtle. People would have to play a game 2 or 3 times to go, hey, they really thought of that. So I think making sure that we're telegraphing that reactivity to what you're doing is the most important thing. And I think this is probably the most nested edge case reactivity of any of the Wasteland series that we've done.
Wasteland 3 continues the tradition of Wasteland 2 in giving the players difficult choices, both personal and political. Personal choices such as there's a scene where there's a gun on a mantelpiece of these poor people's homes, and it's very sentimental because it was their son's gun and he passed, but it's a really, really nice gun, so you could take it, but you would have to kill this nice couple.
Murdered him for some shitty gun.
And what's interesting is most people won't do it. They won't make these virtual characters unhappy or kill them because they feel bad about it. And that's what I love about these games.
You have hundreds of decisions, sometimes thousands of decisions that are all have to play nice with each other. And you have multiple writers over multiple areas writing stories individually. You have to ride herd on all of those people to make sure that everything they do ties up to everything everybody else is doing and also supports the main story.
I think the most difficult part about designing for the Wasteland universe is the player choice that they have. We let them do so many things, but we still need to keep a cohesive story together. So simple things, which is you can pull out your gun and shoot anybody you want in the game. Well, what happens with that? You know, there are quest givers. Well, if you kill the quest giver, now how are you gonna get to the next thing? And then how is the world going to respond to what you've done? Because the more edge cases we put in, that we write for, that you try, the more immersive and the greater the payoff. We love it when people try really obscure things and we recognize it and the world pays that off. That's a great feeling whenever that happens. And so I think writing for all the edge cases and creating all the content that you have to in order to make it truly effective, you end up writing 30% more than you would, that you're going to use, that the player's ever going to see. Otherwise, we would have the same experience. So creating all that extra content, knowing most people won't see it, but they might see it, is a big challenge of doing one of these games.
Wasteland 3 kind of prides itself on not punishing people for making terrible or questionable moral decisions. Like if you want to take Vic the Psycho in your party, okay, you can do that. If you want to shoot everybody in the game, we'll let you do that. What we try to do is make sure that when you do these things, even if you're not punished, you see the consequences.
I declare them enemies of the state.
If you decide to kill some refugees, you're going to see a weeping mother or a lost child, and you're going to understand that what you did has consequences for people in the world.
We do have the choices they make ripple through long periods of time. And there's nothing better than when you made an early decision and then later on somebody's commenting on it. We have a simple device where we have a paper boy. He's just in town and he's always sort of yelling out whatever's going on in the world.
Cowardly attack on Colorado Springs!
So as you run around and let's say you blew up the bazaar, he's yelling out, "Bazaar, burn to the ground, read all about it," and right, so every time you go by him, you hear him shouting out what the Rangers are doing. That's just like a small example of a choice and consequence, but again, the world is always watching you, always reacting at different times.
It is fun designing dark outcomes for player choices, but dark outcomes can't be the only outcomes. Players have to be able to find some light and some balance and sometimes funny outcomes, sometimes pathetic outcomes, sometimes heartwarming outcomes, because when you finish the game, you don't want to be, "Oh man, that was rough." Sometimes you do. There are endings that you can choose that will get you that. But if you get that ending, you made that ending because you made those choices. What we try to do is we try to not surprise the player with, if, "Oh, I'm going to do a good thing," and a terrible thing happens. You reap what you sow.
We're super proud of the way Wasteland 3 has come out. We sit there playing it ourselves, and again, we have teams of writers playing this thing, so we play it through it to some degree as a user would. Like, I don't know everything that's been written, and we sit in the conference room and we play it several times a week, and we just go through and we're just laughing or enjoying or getting these decisions like, "Oh, what do we do here?" And so it's been great to experience it how the users will, and I can't wait to get it in people's hands.
My name is Atle Fagersten. I am the producer at Palindrome Interactive, and we are the developers of Immortal Realms Vampire Wars. In a nutshell, it's a turn-based strategy game that combines empire management, turn-based combat, that we really feel sets it apart from other games. It makes it a little bit more approachable without losing the hardcore values that the strategy game market really requires.
You have the kingdom mode and the battle mode. So you first have the kingdom mode where you conquer territories, manage your armies and economy. And then you have the battle mode where you actually battle it out over ownership of different territories.
We're not a huge team, so we knew that doing real time is hard and it takes a lot of effort, but doing something turn-based can make it equally good in form of strategical thinking and what affordances you give the player and what they can do. So that was kind of like where the decision came from. We can do this great, so let's do it.
What we wanted to do was to take a lot of the classical vampire mythos and put them together into sort of a nice package.
Alright, so we have 3 unique vampire clans in the game. We have the Rougelike clan, the Nosferatu clan, and the Moroya.
So the Dracul are very much based on, the Dracula sort of mythology about the Count Dracula ruling Transylvania and sort of living in synergy with humans. Mm-hmm. So it's very much about ruling them, and sort of he has noble intents, but of course, being a vampire doesn't really match always with the the humans' morality.
Or their view on the humans are that they turn them into vampires and recruit them into their armies, and that's their way of building their strength. They conquer land and take any human subjects into their armies, so they see them more as a resource to be used.
Then we have the Nosferatu. These guys are more corrupt ancient vampires. They're ruled by the ancient Urhamu, who is a vampire lord from thousands of years ago who has been imprisoned for a long time and is finally awoken again.
And then we have the Moroya, which are sort of the treacherous vampires, the noble vampires. They're led by a woman, Elizabeth, that has been betrayed by her husband, and she sort of betrayed him in turn. And
they kind of don't want to interact with humans, and they definitely do not allow humans in the ranks of their armies and their units. They are considered not worthy or filth almost.
You choose what armies you want in the kingdom mode and you structure those up, and then you take those with you into battle as you try to expand your territory. And of course, depending on how well you do in the battle modes, you'll have to recruit more armies, which cost more blood, or you can continue your conquering. We kind of cater to different play styles. If you want to be very combat-centric, you can play all the combats manually, and then that will take more time. But if you want to just focus on the economy and the managing, you can out-resolve battles and then spend more of your time managing the economy and building your kingdom that way.
Capturing territories, defeating other armies, building up an economy, advancing in tech levels, unlocking new units, building a stronger empire, with the ultimate goal being to conquer the land and be the last one standing.